and welcome to IAACE's March Teacher Talk. Today I am joined with Whitney Pentecost, and Whitney is an ABE instructor from Newcastle Correctional Facilities. Whitney, I'm really glad that you're here today. Would you
Hi.
like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thank you for having me. I started this. My name is Whitney Pentecost. I am an AVE instructor at Newcastle Correctional Facility. I've been an AVE instructor for 5.5 years, and I live in Newcastle with my husband and my two kids. And I'm currently working on my Master of Arts teaching degree from Oakland State University in secondary education. I'm in the process of working on I've been working on my master thesis and expecting to have my degree conferred in August. So I'm excited about that.
Wow. Yeah, congratulations. That sounds like you are
Thank you.
busy with a lot of good things.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
So what initially made you want to go into teaching?
No, I was when I was working as a library assistant at the Newcastle Cultural Facility. I was looking into some career options, and I was a teaching assistant at Purdue University. So I helped teach some of the animal sciences classes. And I really enjoyed the aspect of teaching. I just wasn't sure how to go forth with it with only having a bachelor's degree in animal science, but not having a whole lot of teaching experience. So I got to talk to Mr. Thompson, and he recommended me as a position. So I applied for my emergency commit and I worked towards my transition to teach license and then worked toward getting my first license in life science 5 through 12. And I really enjoy the aspect of teaching, and I have been teaching in various populations, low custody, protected custody, and general, and now I'm doing a general population.
Awesome. Yeah, and thank you so much for joining us again because we have a lot of correctional facility teachers throughout Indiana, and it's not something that everyone knows about, and it works a little differently than our other programs. So I'm really
Yeah,
excited to be able to hear and learn from you.
yeah, of course.
Um, so I know you talked a little bit about the science of reading. So how have you incorporated science of reading curriculum into your classroom?
So I did the 80 hours of science reading training through the program called Fuse Literacy Training. And then I took a science of reading practice exam and got my early literacy endorsement. So I was using my knowledge and expertise from the training and from what I learned and studied from the practice to incorporate that into my classroom. And so we basically started from the basics, phonological awareness, phonemic awareness, how to write, how to recognize figures of speech, parse figurative languages, and it seems to be a really very beneficial in the classrooms. And students have appreciated the fact that I have all that knowledge behind me to help them learn how to read, write. So
Yeah.
that has definitely been beneficial in helping them with the getting their literacy as well as the GED.
Yeah. Have you seen any resistance or any hesitation from the students when you're teaching the science of reading, since it's starting at like basic building blocks of reading?
Not at all. It actually, I've actually seen quite the opposite.
Good.
So my, it, I have seen some tremendous performance benefits in the scores and also improvement in um, their receptive and their expressive vocabulary. And very, it's very awesome to see um, their progress in the classroom, going from like, okay, not having a whole lot of knowledge behind
Mhm.
it to having a knowledge I can share with my students and how much of a difference it makes for them as far as working on their literacy and GED.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see the continuous progress here in the coming months with that.
And you kind of touched on it a little bit. Have you seen an increase in their measurable skills gains as well?
Oh yeah, definitely. The reading seems to be the first subject that they'll get their measurable skill gains, and the reading just scores would be pretty high. And then I had a student who scored pretty high on the ROA GED. And so it's really nice to see that and see that it has really benefited the students. And I've had students coming in like, we appreciate everything you've done for us. This stuff has really helped. Your resources have been very helpful in the process of studying for literacy and GED. So that was really nice. That's something that I like to see. And very blessed that the outcome of it.
Yeah. And I'm going to put you on the spot here for just a second. If anyone is interested in some of those resources that you've seen success with, would they be able to reach out to you? Or is there a good way that we can share any of those resources with other teachers in Indiana?
Yes, absolutely. You can feel free to contact me if they want any questions or resources regarding to the science reading curriculum. As there is a Q's Literacy website that has all the information regarding to the training, how to get started on the training, and how to get the 80 hours. And also, when I did it, they gave me a voucher for the practice, which is really nice because it saves a lot of money. That I will say that the test is very intensive, but having seen that and the knowledge behind all that has really helped shape the form of how I teach classroom instruction as well as lesson planning.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you, so you've talked about all the success that you have seen. Are there any challenges you're facing in your classroom right now?
No, I've had some students where basically like just I could tell that they could not read, or I've had a student who he can't really communicate well. That throughout been able to overcome those obstacles, and they have been doing really well. And I had one where I had a student who was very quiet, but he was extremely smart. And I could tell that he had a little bit of self-doubt in him. And I was like, well, your scores are really high already for your pre-tape assessment. So I think you're going to do extremely well. And he did. He just took his first test recently. He did very well. And I looked for him to get his literacy before too long. So that's an awesome experience to have as an instructor as well as them as a student.
Yeah, sometimes they just need to hear another voice saying, you can do this, you do have the skills, you can make it through.
Yeah, absolutely. Having that support system really does make a difference for them. It gives them that confidence, that self-efficacy that is much needed.
Yeah. So what would you say some of your best practices or your best strategies in your classroom have been that have helped your students the most?
So with the using the science reading curriculum, when we go over sounds of language, so to speak, I use a part of sound lyrics for them to be able to decipher what part of speech it is. So, for example, if there's words like that has like or as, and I would kind of give them like a hint, like, okay, this has like or as. What is this? And they're like, oh, that's a simile. And or using like a short phrase that represents noise, and like they recognize it, like, oh, that's yeah. I was like, okay, so this really help. It was helping them with the retention method, and it was also helping them with their processing speed whenever it comes to taking the test. So I like to go beyond the textbooks. Because my students have shown great appreciation of
Mhm.
that. Like we had the textbook as as a framework, that I also go beyond that to look for various different types um, of examples and different types of problems to help them with their higher order thinking skills.
Mhm. Yeah, and I love that idea of using song lyrics too. I think anytime you can connect it to real life and being relevant and something that they enjoy, I think that really just like
Yeah,
elevates how they're feeling when they're in the classroom. It gives the
right,
buy-in.
exactly. And then, like for science, if we're learning genetics and heredity, I raised rabbits for 4-H, so I was
Okay.
using kind of that as an example of okay, so I have this male rabbit who's like a red-eyed white, and then I have a female who's red-eyed white, but then I have a blue-eyed white
Mm.
kit. Like, how did that come about? And they're like, oh, okay. So now I'm going to do this class square and try to figure out how that came about, that result. And they're like, oh, well, one of them has they each have at least one recessive gene, so therefore there was that probability of having that. So it was helping them like understand the process a little bit better, um, and also being able to apply that knowledge in real life situations,
Mhm.
which I think is important for them, especially when after working with them in rehabilitation, it's important for them to have those skills when they get outside.
Mhm. Yeah, it's not just about passing the test, making sure they have good context and
And,
information to be successful in whatever they choose to do next.
and exactly.
Yeah.
And
Um,
then it helped them. Then it also helps them become, be able to discover be able to explore their interests. Like, do they want to do something beyond high school or beyond that GED? Or do they want to go to vocational programs, or do they want to um, go to a community college or a 4-year college, or they want to build go into the trading world. So that is very important for them to have all that 21st century life skills that
mhm.
they're definitely going to need when they get out there.
Yeah, yeah, the GED, the diploma is just the first step, opening it up
Yeah,
for whatever
right.
else they choose.
It's the beginning stages of um, basically their life.
Yeah. And so you shared earlier that you are working on your master's degree. So, what have been the biggest takeaways that you've learned from being in that course, and how have you integrated that into your teaching?
Um, so I on my last class with master thesis, and it was just really interesting to see how things have evolved, especially technology has evolved in learning. And so that, like the innovative technology and knowing, like about the AI, about how AI is coming about for education and the cultural responsiveness in teaching and fostering relationships with students and teachers. And the biggest thing I'm going to do is the master thesis, which the blessing thing about it is that I have a chance to be able to voice my experiences as an instructor and how things are not just, what we see, but also behind closed doors of what we do
Mm-hmm.
to become successful in what we do in the role as an adult basic education instructor.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned that you've learned a lot about technology within education. And
Mhm.
I'm not super familiar with how our corrections facilities work. Does your facility allow like technology resources, or are you all like paper pencil with everything?
We do have some technology
Okay.
resources. So in my classroom, I use Khan Academy,
Okay.
A5 Learning, and there was a tornado simulator that I use to show them the differences of okay, it's not just about the size of the tornado. about the wind speed.
Mm.
And I assign them just learning work through the program called Edogo Insight so they can get additional supplemental material
Okay.
in the concept that we're learning in class. So there was some.
Mm-hmm. And sorry, I know I'm going like way off track of our initial plan, but I'm just curious.
Oh, no, that's fine.
The other people in your master's program, are they working in adult education, or is it K-12? Is it with kids? And how does that compare, like when you're like talking about the technology in the classroom?
Yeah. I think I'm the only one that's working in a correctional setting. And all the other ones in the classroom, I believe they're working either middle or high school.
Okay.
So um, so my professor said, it's really nice to be able to see a different perspective on things when it comes to teaching, not just in a public setting, but also in a correctional setting as well. So he's really excited about that. And yeah, it's first like when people think of correctional setting, they're like, let me have to mix things up. But it is very important to provide education, especially to help them build self-efficacy and also reduce the risk of recidivism rates.
Mm-hmm.
We want them to become very self-efficient and functional in society, just like we expect they would if they were in a public school setting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, just the differences between like K-12, public schools, private, adult education, and then correctional facilities within adult education. It's just the differences, and but also the ultimate goal of, just like you said, self-efficacy, preparing students to be successful in whatever pathway they choose. I think that's huge.
Yes, absolutely.
So, what advice would you give to a new teacher starting out, either in corrections, adult ed, or any sort of teacher?
This is advice that my coworker has told me starting is like find like your niche, find like your basically called like the sweet spot, like what you are really like what is your biggest knowledge that you have to share with the student.
Mm.
To start from there. And then basically their art of teaching will start to flow in with their knowledge that they have to share with students. So it makes the process it's not an overnight thing, and learning is definitely not a one size fit all. So it's when they first start, it's like it will be a lot of trial and error, just figuring out what works best for you as far as teaching in the classroom and what works best for your students as far as how they're learning and how they're progressing and getting towards the goals with the literacy and GED.
Yeah, I think that's really powerful, and it's hard as a new teacher, like being comfortable not knowing everything, and you have to
Yeah,
accept it. Like, I'm not going to know, but I'm going to put forth my effort. I'm going to research. I'm going to do what I need to do to show up for these students.
yeah, and I tell my students like I don't know everything. If I don't know, I'll find out, but I will teach the concept as best I can. And also, I have tutors to help me assist me. Um, yeah, it's just the beginning. It can be scary and it can be challenging, but that's what makes it great about being a teacher. It's like that new challenge to build something to what my regional manager told me when I first started. Like you'll be able to do you're going to do great things. Like you have the tool to do great things in a career as a teacher and also for the students.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's so powerful. Um, as a teacher, what has been your biggest blessing working with your students?
Um, I've had a few. So there was one month where I had 5 students get their GED.
Nice.
Got 5 in one month, and it was really nice to see that. having a student get his literacy and GED in like less than a year,
Mm.
and seeing even within the first couple of post tests, they go from just starting out to, oh, I already got my literacy now. I'm going to move forward with GED. So it's really nice and enjoyable to see that progress and see them grow not just as a student but as a person.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the student pathway and seeing them succeed and build that confidence, there's really nothing that can beat that progress. So
Right, absolutely.
well, those are the questions that we had laid out. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us, Whitney?
Um, no, I think it's good.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for being on today. And I will share some contact information for anyone who wants to reach out to Whitney to get some of those resources she mentioned or some of the websites that she has utilized. But thank you so much. And we will have our next teacher talk at the end of April. Thank
All right,
you.
thank you. Thank you.